To start with, we will provide you, or I should say Solenne Toum from ATEE will provide you an overview of examples prepared in the Smooth Plus project. And so we move to France now, but still providing a European overview. Solenne, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Brian and Christophe, for your presentation. I'm very happy to learn about it, and I believe there is a lot of information to retrieve from your work to do our own work. I'm here part of ATEE. We are a non-profit organization of stakeholders, and we are with the ministry and with ADEME, which is the French Agency for Energy, the three main entities that work for the French EUS, which is the only measures that report to Article 8 in France. Today, I'm here part of the ENSMA Plus consortium in order to show you kind of an overview of the example of studies about energy potentials that we studied within the ENSMA Plus project. And I will make a little focus on the French white certificate scheme because there is two studies about France, and they are the one I'm more knowledgeable about. To start with, a few words about the ENSMA Plus online platform. Indeed, I prepared some kind of fact sheets about each studies, but you can find the full example on the platform in resources. And there is also a lot of resources on events, so you can find all the replay of the presentation and also the slide presented today and on other ENSMA Plus events. So it's maybe Jean-Sébastien, you can put the link in the chat as you did.
That's done.
And for the energy potentials studies we've done in ENSMA Plus, we studied a few cases, 5 of them about Lithuania, Greece, 1 at EU level, and 2 about France. The first one about Lithuania was based on a large survey about 1,000 households, and it was mostly about their energy habits. So the aim was to assess the potential for energy saving linked to behavioral measures, such as eco tips. And the final aim was to improve all the measures related to consumer information on energy advice. And all this information and advice was provided by energy suppliers because they were indeed an agreement with the Lithuanian Ministry of Energy. I believe the finality of the study was to identify how to tailor communication channel and message according to target group, such as energy poor people. In this study, the main result was that half of the respondents had already applied energy saving tips, and a lot of respondents noticed a major change in energy consumption, a decrease in energy consumption after applying the tips. So it showed that in Lithuania, the behavioral measures are still something to work on, and that works to make energy savings. The second study analyzed within the ENSMA Plus project was a study in the Greek industry. So it was more like a classical, I may say, potential study. And it was focused in energy savings in company, in all economic activities, such as industry, service, agriculture. And in the study was assessed either technical and economical potential with considering a maximum payback. So they use a criteria of 5 years of payback in industry and 10 years in service and agriculture. This study about grid was to identify where the public intervention would be needed the most to make the more energy saving. And for the last fact sheet before France, we also done an example in NIMSMOF Plus about an analysis done by IFC in 2021. It was published by ICF with CU Delft and Éclairons, and it was made for the European Commission, and it was also an input for the preparation of the Fit for 55 package and all the EU-related scenario. So this study covers all 27 member states with the UK, and it also looked at the technical and economical potential for energy saving in the main use sector. This study was aimed more particularly to provide technical and also policy recommendation per sector, and also key action type to be targeted by policies measures to overcome many barriers identified. One of the main insights of the study was about industry, which represents the largest economic potential that could be achieved by 2030, sorry. And there's also the residential sector that would become progressively the largest source of saving until 2060. And we also saw it in France for the EUS in France, the residential sector is the sector that produces the more in terms of energy saving, but also in terms of potentials. So that's it for the three first examples developed in NSMOF Plus on energy potentials. The two last examples are about France. So the first one was a study done by ADEME. ADEME is the Agency of Energy and Ecology in France, which is part of the Ministry of Ecology. And ADEME is also responsible for updating a deposit study ahead of the preparation of each EUS period, white certificate period. So the study was done, and in NSMOF Plus, we made a focus on a re-edition of the study which was focused on buildings only. And at the same time of these studies that are mandated by the ministry, there's also other stakeholders who carry their own studies. Just like the second study we are going to talk about, the study of the French EUS to support achieving saving in the tertiary sector. So this study was specially mandated by ATEE, by ADEME, the Agency of Energy in France, and by several obligated parties, private stakeholders in the energy field in France. And to have this many studies help to enrich the discussion and to calculate the potential with different hypotheses. So for the rest of my presentation, I will focus on the second study because it was mandated by ATE especially. And I will give you a more detailed overview of what was done, what was the result, and how it was done. So the main deliverable of the study was the four deliverables we saw on screen. So first of all, make a synthesis of the French and European regulatory framework. So what are from the Article 8, what are the French regulatory framework. And also, we made an inventory of the financing opportunities at national and regional levels because the Ministry of, the Agency of Energy, such as ADEME, has some kind of funds to fund, for example, heating district or anything in industry. So the aim was to compare all the financing opportunities there is to finance all kind of energy saving action. We also assess the technical energy saving potential. So that is without looking at the economical side, what is the ultimate potential that can be achieved in France. And finally, we have a French program, which is the tertiary decree that fixes a goal for energy saving in France, and more particularly in the service sector. About the tertiary decree, there is an ambitious national objective, which is given by percentage and with specific deadlines in 2030, 2040, 2050. And it's very specific to service sector buildings. In this study, we especially compared the objective of this decree with what could the French EOS do to attain this objective. The assessment method was really simple. We did it with a consultancy, and we used 4 main sources for our data. The first one was the French National Building Database. So it was for the building stock massively. We used hypothesis and approximation to separate all the service sector on different segments, such as offices, hospitals, schools, and so on. And we built some kind of package of standardized action, which are new to make energy saving. And we also rely a lot on technical experts to assess the saving per meter square for each action. So with these 4 sources, we achieve some kind of result about the technical potential assessment by segment. So on this slide, it illustrates that targets are set at global level, so for the service sector, but are not always achievable for the subsectors. As seen, the horizontal lines are the objective by years. And for example, all the remaining conceptions, so the dark blue, are not under the objective. So potential study in this case are also useful for assessing where it's possible to go beyond the target and where there is need to compensate for the segments where the target cannot be met. And they also help us to identify where the change in the scheme are needed. In this study in particular, it was the store, yes, the food store, more particularly, which consume a lot of energy and where it was difficult to have a lot of savings. And one other result of the study was to sort the action of the standardized catalog, so the deemed action by bonuses. So we can see that all the actions that are close to the 15 line seems to be the actions that are economically viable. So this graph is very important for end consumers to see which actions they may do they may do first to achieve a lot of energy saving with the more profitability as possible. So a few conclusions about this study. There were three main conclusions. The first one was that the national objective and the EUS system could be misaligned because the EUS is a scheme that aim at means as the tertiary decree aims at results. So in the EUS, cheap action are more profitable than real energy saving action. So it can be an issue for to assess the potentials. There is also some opportunities because following the publication of the study, private and public stakeholders took kind of ownership of its content, using it in various ways. First of all, the study revealed a lot of untapped potential in some segments, so actions that are not financed by the EUS and could be financed to achieve energy saving. So this study in the last year kind of served as a roadmap for the tertiary working group and as a work program for technology to finance with EUS. The study also for the ministry highlights the opportunistic nature of white certificate in France, and more particularly in the tertiary sector. And so it enables the ministry to improve the system for the coming periods. And also for other public bodies, such as the Directorate General for Enterprise in France, this study makes them took an interest in the system and propose new standardized action to save energy in more particular sector, such as restaurants. And in some case, during this year of work, the study also helped to define bonuses. So in France, these bonuses are not compatible with Article 7, but aim to make some action more attractive to end consumers. So that's it for the French study and for all the study we developed within ENSMAF Plus.
Thanks a lot, Solène. Well, of course, I have a biased view on that as I'm part of the ENSMAF Plus project, but I think that's very useful resources as well. It provides, as you showed, different type of studies, different insights, and in each fact sheet you can find the source, the report that have been studied, etc. I've put also in the chat the other presentation that was made last year about the same study that Solène presented. So if you want more details about the methodology of the study, you can look at this other presentation. And what I think is very interesting in this particular study is that it as it is made for the context of an energy efficiency obligation scheme, in that case the French white certificate scheme, it can be useful for both for the policymakers, so they can see the potential and how to set the target accordingly, where the actions are additional or not, etc. So adjust the catalog of action types. But it's also very useful, as you mentioned, Solène, at the end, for the market players and especially for the obligated parties and their contractors, the delegated parties, to identify where they can achieve savings in the most cost-effective way. So that's also very dynamic input to stimulate the markets.